Hey, what's going on, everyone? By Qualm's beard, I've been lazy, yeah? I haven't done a video for ages. I promised I would do more. To be fair, I've been hooked on Zelda again. I've been playing Yoshi. I've even been playing Hollow Knight. I got no excuses, honestly. But let me let me talk about something. And we've seen this being talked about everywhere. But as always, I find it something quite important to talk about, or at least something that'll bring up conversation. So let's get into it. I don't know how long this is going to go on for. I can see myself waffling here because there's so many avenues. But let me stop waffling now and actually start talking about it. But I want to talk about easy modes and accessibility in video games, because I've listened to and read a lot of opinions on this, and I found that the conversations between each have crossed paths and have ultimately become mixed up. Even when I've engaged in certain conversations, I found myself doing the same thing, and kicking myself when I have confused them both. It's easily done, and the reason why they can get confused is because they are in many ways essentially intertwined. Each being fundamental to each other in order for the final product to be as balanced as possible, for as much of the market to be engaged into. So in this respect, accessibility has always been an issue for video games, in many people's minds, and in reality, to be fair, from the obvious things like more buttons being added to controllers, the introduction of analog sticks for controlling 3D games, the shape of the controller, whether an individual finds it uncomfortable or not, to let's talk about things like people adapting to changes in technology and whether they are capable of moving along with them regardless of how easy the setup is made for them. In regards to accessibility, for me in gaming, it's for the most part never been an issue, because I've been there pretty much from the start, being involved in all the changes and have naturally adapted to them. Mostly because I started playing games when I was young, and my skills have grown throughout the years, so that when new technology is introduced, unless it's rapidly different, which for the most part, it's not, I find that I'm able to pick something new up relatively quickly. On the opposite side, there were my parents who, when given an Atari joystick, this type of device, coupled with the technology on the screen, it made it far harder for them to learn and adapt, because this technology was fundamentally completely new to them, and they were already adults. Similar, I suppose, to many adults struggling to learn a new language, which for the most part becomes increasingly more difficult, as it essentially, is something completely new. And the older we get, sometimes it's the harder it is to learn something new. So we have to effectively find or hope there are more accessible ways for many people to be able to engage in video games. If I went back to the arcades, or let's say an arcade-style light gun game on the Sega Dreamcast, like House of the Dead, and I gave my mum the Dreamcast controller, and I used the light gun, I know for the fact that the most intuitive and more accessible control method for that game would be using a light gun. My mum using the controller, would be pretty much utterly useless at it. Her skills, moving, an analog stick and learning which buttons to press would make this game a nightmare for her. But if I gave her the light gun instead, her ability to merely point at the screen and pull the trigger would instantly make that game more accessible to her. The difficulty in the game, moves then away from the accessibility into the realms of, can she shoot those zombies quick enough before she gets hit? And this is the video game, the game side of video games itself. Another example would be playing ARMS with my children. I have a 4-year-old who can, if I told to play ARMS using the analog stick, if I gave her the normal controller, she would just struggle, to the point where it would put her off playing, which has happened. But as soon as I activate motor controls, tell her to hold the two Joy-Cons and punch like crazy, next thing you know, she's having she's become vastly more effective and is having a whole load more fun at the same time. If I wanted to play Street Fighter with her, there are no other options in terms of accessibility, so she would have to learn the game as it is, and she'd either succeed or fail, because it's also important to remember that no matter how hard some people try, you simply can't be good at everything, no matter how accessible or easy it's made. I bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, even though I already owned the Wii U version. I primarily bought it not because it had an extra battle mode and characters, but the main factor was that the game added automatic acceleration, and was also to that antenna, it prevents your car going off the track. Couple this with motion controls, and my 4-year-old daughter could now play Mario Kart more effectively, giving her more enjoyment until her skill levels grew. You honestly don't need to look far in gaming for when accessibility works in tangent with difficulty. Look no further than the Touch generation and the Wii generation of gaming from Nintendo. All those grannies who weren't interested in Super Tennis or Virtual Tennis because those controllers made no sense to them, were all now eager and excited to play Wii Sports purely because of the accessibility that the Wiimote brought. And then in games like Wii Sports Resort, further incentive and difficulty was added, by the player needing to be more accurate if they wanted to achieve better scores and, badges, etc., stuff like that. But the accessibility was still there. This is one of the major reasons why the DS and Wii generations changed the market so much. Throw in the fact that the consoles were cheaper, than the competition, along with the software, and you have pretty much the perfect mix for success. Look at the excitement around Labo VR. Right now, it's not just the fact that the software is enticing; it's the fact that in front of you is a piece of kit that is easily assembled, cheap, and requires only your existing Nintendo Switch console, which already comes with everything you need. VR made accessible for both adults and children, with software also designed for adults and children. The Nintendo Switch, in its very nature, is a more accessible console for many players now who have the opportunity to game, whenever it's convenient for them, wherever it's convenient. And then we have games like like the hotly discussed Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, I think is a game that is kicking even the most hardened gamers ass, and there are many calling for an easy mode, so just so they can find some level of enjoyment in the game. This is where accessibility, difficulty, and creative vision finds itself sometimes at an impasse, I feel, and there will be, and there will be, and arguably should be, only so many things done to make this type of experience more accessible without taking away from its core premise. Once again, people can't have it all and shouldn't have it all their way. That's just not how life works. How much of the game do you change before it's deemed accessible to most? How easy does a game have to be before it's considered accessible to most? The answers are near impossible, because that's not how humanity works. You can never satisfy everyone, and working out the levels to try and do so is, I feel, a pointless endeavor, and will ultimately in the end affect the art, the creation of what is being put before you. So those who find games like Sekiro unaccessible, whether that's due to its very nature or their own capabilities, I think we need to look much deeper, I feel, into what can be changed to make said experiences more accessible to more people without changing the fundamental experience itself. You wouldn't, for example, expect where am I going with this? You wouldn't, for example, expect let's just say Ridley Scott to adding Care Bear music, on the Nostromo in Alien, instead of the atmospheric sounds that the movie has, so that it makes the film, less scary for those who scare easily, what you could expect is to have the more gory, violent scenes edited out. Just like that happens on TV, depending on the time of night the film is shown. That makes the film still maintain its general premise, but also making it just a bit more accessible to a slightly different market who wants to see an alien film but doesn't want to see the actual gore and the violence. So I don't personally expect the developers of Sekiro to change the controls of the game as that's how they want the game to be played. Hell, I'd argue that they shouldn't even have to change the difficulty. What I feel might be the best option, and one that we've essentially had since the arcades, and maybe even earlier, is the option to give the player more chances without a heavy setback. The option to continue without a punishment, effectively. The old-fashioned continue button. I completed Ikaruga, not because the difficulty was changed. I mean, if anyone's played Ikaruga, they know how hard that game is. But the reason why I completed it was because I had more lives and continues, which allowed me to progress, learn the game more, and eventually see myself dying less because I was given more time and chances to improve on my skills without having to start the whole level all over again, and with the same lives or whatever. My kids could essentially play and complete Ikaruga with the same principle. What if this same principle was applied to Sekiro in terms of difficulty? That you were granted, when killed, a chance to resurrect on the spot without the boss's health regenerating and without the need to start the fight all over again or run all the way back to that position again, or even the option to perhaps reverse time a little. So you just got killed, tap a button or whatever, and you move back 30 seconds or something. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time, effectively done this, as well, giving the player a chance to correct their mistakes by reversing time for the short moment, without changing, the base essence of the game, and still giving the player the sense of achievement, but still for achievement and player progression wise, these powers were still limited because no game that requires skill should make you utterly invincible, as all achievement and progress, would be essentially lost. And we should have achievement and progress in most games that we play, whether it's video games, board games, Dungeons and Dragon games, whatever. But that's the difficulty side of the Sekiro argument with a sprinkle of accessibility, I suppose. But what about the other accessibility options? That we don't think about if these things don't affect us, and things like people talk about a colorblind mode, other controllers that might have the same amount of buttons, but design-wise are more accessible to those who can't hold controllers that we consider normal. I think the important thing for gaming in general is to find a balance between accessibility and difficulty. Something that games like Mario Kart have increasingly become better at, with the CC difficulties, which have been there since the SNES, multiple control options, which have been brought in now from the Wii and onwards, and in-game assists. But of course, Mario Kart still isn't perfect in regards to accessibility options. Like some of the ones I just mentioned. But I guess this is something the industry needs to pay more attention to and provide those type of options. The distinction between accessibility and difficulty is important to remember, I feel, yet they both play a part. They both play a fundamental part in what video games are, should and can be. But anyway, this this has been a long waffle, so I cut it here. I hope I got some of my thoughts across. It's a difficult subject, with lots of variables, but it's important to discuss it. I feel. Let me know your thoughts on this, and and how you feel accessibility and difficulty, can collide in games, and some ideas on how things like this can be remedied and applied. But yeah, as always, thanks for listening all. Take care, and I'm not even going to say I'm going to be back soon with a video. There will be another video, hopefully, hopefully quicker than that this one took to make. Even though I just, oh god, I'll be back with another video at some point in the very near future. I promise. Take care, and all. Peace.